First, I'd like to recognise local member Steve, state MPs.
Based on the economics and expertise we've gathered here today, I again stress that 33% reduction can work, and at a minimum I implore the QCA, Ergon and even the government to allow us even to trial a proposal to save the industry from its inevitable demise.
Cane Growers is calling for a 33% reduction in electricity prices for irrigation users. We're particularly focused on tariffs 62, 65 and 66. We believe this will stimulate electricity demand and increase network use. This subsidy-free, revenue-neutral solution for Ergon and state government will deliver much-needed price relief for irrigators and boost economic activity in the agricultural sector.
We've got about $7.4 billion in land assets and about $7.4 billion in infrastructure assets. And it's just about buggered because of electricity prices. The current and proposed prices for irrigated agriculture in Queensland, if electricity prices are not reduced, the Queensland government will not be able to maintain agricultural production, let alone double it. If the Queensland government aren't prepared to reduce electricity prices for irrigators, the Queensland economy will only have $3 and agriculture will not be one of them.
The government wish to promote their four-pillar economy for the future with proposed increases of agricultural production of 40%. This will not occur unless they act immediately and endorse the 33% reduction proposed by cane growers and this forum here today. If they fail to do this, they face the very real prospect of not only losing their 40% increased agricultural growth, but of losing many agricultural communities across Queensland as well.
Bundy Fruit and Vegetable Growers believes the proposal put forward today for a 33% reduction in power costs is essential for the continued viability of irrigated agriculture. It is imperative that irrigated agricultural industries be afforded a fair and reasonable opportunity to be profitable.
Bundy Sugar is investing heavily in expanding its own cane land production and increasing yield of existing farms. This also includes investment in low-pressure, energy-efficient irrigation. However, electricity costs are increasing faster than the technology improvements. If electricity costs do not reduce, the loss in cane crop size due to increased dryland farming is likely to result in mill closures in regional Queensland.
These electricity charges have increased by 90% over the past 7 years. Obviously, we as an industry are unable to sustain these increasing costs and seeking immediate response from government on this matter. The Maryborough District needs a strong rural economy to maintain employment and to support local businesses. This can be achieved under this present electricity pricing structure.
So with this reduced rainfall over the 10-year period, you'd expect an increase in water use, but the opposite has occurred because of spiralling electricity costs. This demonstrates a direct correlation between declining water use and increasing electricity prices. In 2001, electricity made up 63% of the variable water charge in the scheme. This has now increased to 80% of the variable charge in 2014. The increase in Piney Valley water pumping cost added to the similar electricity increases for on-farm pumping clearly shows why water use and production are declining alarmingly.
So we do want to work with you on efficiency, on motors, all those sorts of things, pumping efficiencies, but also tariffs as well. So we're well progressed on that, and I've got to say we're probably a year out in terms of expectations. Our regulatory determination is due in about 4 months' time, and that applies to July 2015, at which time we expect average network prices to go down and to stay down at below inflation for the next.
I don't control the tariffs. I don't have authority to reduce the tariff. That sits with Malcolm. We have, but we need to be clear on that. There is uniform gazetted tariffs right across Queensland, and they aren't controlled by the distribution company.
Well, the first thing is that we're required by law to set prices that cover the actual costs of supply. So that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone in the room that if you're not producing a product, it's if you're not recovering the costs of producing the product, then there's eventually not going to be reliable long term.
What about our costs?
Yeah.
They're going back for much, not telling us anything.
If I can start again. We're required by legislation to set prices that reflect the cost of supply, and that's a pretty sound principle. It means that when we look at the costs, network, energy, green schemes, all those things that combine make the final retail bill, we have to take into account what the costs are that the retailer has to cover to supply that electricity to customers. Now, I understand the argument and the fact that you are all price takers. When I speak to consumer groups, when I speak to pensioner groups, when I speak to anyone affected by electricity prices, and they're all facing high electricity prices this year, last year, the year before, everyone is squeezed by those prices. That's no consolation for anyone here in this room, but it's a fact for all customers in Queensland.
We are hearing loudly and clearly. I certainly, I support the comments that Steve has made today. The disappointing thing is the three of us here today are only backbenchers. We are not the decision makers. But I can assure you we will be taking back an extremely strong message from today's meeting. It is a strong point. The numbers that the cane growers have put together add up. The figures add up. And we are hearing it, and I can assure you, to the best of our ability, we will be trying to get that message through to the ministers. And that's, at this stage, is as much as we can do. But we are listening, we want to hear as much as we can.